what if mythology, what if Greek myth and all the mythology was real? Okay, what if, I'm just saying what if here, what if Greek mythology and Egyptian mythology was actually real? All right, here's what I'm wondering, okay, because we have what we are facing now, which is we have such a mass amount of people that believe the media, okay? We still have tons, millions of people that believe the news, believe the media, think it's real, and don't understand that it is. If it's on television, it's entertainment, period. And you have to use your head and use your best discernment to figure out what you believe, because 99.99% of what you're seeing is not real. It's entertainment, okay? It's television, it's production. It's a production, it's fake. It's not real, it's scripted. All right? Scripted. I mean, that's what people really need to grasp, you know? And I mean, I think it's getting easier to understand because it looks so fake. The actors they hire are not that good anymore. We don't have Richard Nixons anymore, okay? We don't have John F. Kennedys anymore. We have, you know, Donald Trumps and Kamala Harris's. It's a joke, you know? The acting's gone downhill, and, you know, maybe it's on purpose because we're ready to be awakened. I don't know. I do know one thing. When you study a lot of different religions and theologies and ideas, it all comes from basically the same thing, okay? And if you believe that there's going to be a rapture and the people that believe in Jesus are going to get raptured and float up into heaven, God bless you. And you're going to be waiting your whole life. That's never going to happen. However, I do believe that based on just a lot of research, we are going through an enlightenment period, a period in time where we are essentially getting raptured, a lot of us. But it's not that our bodies are floating up into space, okay? It's that the Christ oil that is in your head and gets released from your pineal gland is going to your feet and turning into a gas and coming back up. That is what's ascending. You're not ascending. You're not flying in outer space. The ascension is within. And I gotta tell you, there's a few good explanations for it, in my opinion, based on research, you know, and one of those explanations comes more from the Hindus' belief and the ancient Indian belief, where we are in a cycle, okay? And I am not a Hindu, so I don't know Hinduism as well as obviously many people that's what they do and that's what they practice and that's what they've grown up understanding. But they have something called a yuga cycle, and it's a cycle that we are in. Now, depending on who you research and whose research you've studied, I tend to believe that it's a 26,000 year cycle, okay? And what happens is we go through periods of enlightenment. Now, if you picture 100% enlightenment at the top of the circle and 50% at the bottom, or I believe it's like 50%, or it goes down to 25%. I don't believe it goes down to 0. But what that means is, as the years go by, you go from 100% everyone is enlightened to, 75, 50, 25, and then you're at the bottom. Now, we were previously at the bottom. We were in the dark ages, technically. And now we are upturning and we're coming back up. Now, that doesn't mean that we are going to be I don't believe in my lifetime. As much as I wish it were to happen in my lifetime, I don't believe that everyone will become enlightened. It will eventually happen, you know, in the next, you know, however many thousand years it takes to get completely into that cycle, or it'll take less amount of time, you know. And that all really depends, I think, because what we're facing here is something really serious. We're facing an age change, okay, a zodiacal age change. Now, when I talk about the zodiac, I'm not talking about, oh, I'm a Virgo, and you know, that means that I'm serious and I don't get along with so and so. No, I'm not talking about that. Okay, that to me is that's silly to me. All right, what I'm talking about is the zodiac as far as telling time. It's God's clock. Okay, and it takes 2,126 years approximately to change an age, which means that you're staring now at a new zodiacal sign. So if you were to look in the southern hemisphere on the spring equinox, right before the sun comes up, look in the southern direction, and whatever constellation is on the horizon, way out there, what that constellation you're looking at, we will look at that for the next 2,126 years on that day. That's how you can tell this stuff. So when people say, oh, we're in the age of Aquarius, we're not yet, because you can just go outside and look. So this spring, I hope everybody does that. You go outside and look and see exactly where we are. And we're not there yet. We're getting there. I mean, it's coming in, but Pisces is still in the way. And if you study astrology on a deeper level, and I don't, again, mean the astrology where what your sign you are and all that, that's silly. Okay, that's newspaper stuff. That's magazine horoscope nonsense. Now, is that accurate? I mean, it's so open that you could be anything, always. I always think they leave it so open-ended. It's kind of silly. But do luminaries, because that's what planets are, they're luminaries, they're lights in the sky, okay? And like the sun, other luminaries are obviously going to have energies and give off energies. The sun gives off an energy, does it not? You can't deny that. So other planets, if they are also, because the sun is not a ball of fire and gas, okay? It's not. From what we see in the sky, it actually looks like some sort of a projection maybe from another thing, because the sun is not the source, okay? And I've said this before, and people are like, huh? What are you talking about? The sun is not the source. Think of this, a light bulb. You screw the light bulb in, and the light bulb turns on and lights up. But when you're holding the light bulb in your hand, it's not doing anything. It's useless. So the light bulb is not the light, okay? The light bulb is not the source of the light. The light bulb needs power. So what I'm saying is the sun is what we see. We're seeing the sun, but what is powering it? That's what we don't know, okay? Now, many people now at this point have filmed what they believe is powering the sun. I've put it up on my profile, quite a few videos of it. Crow, his name is Crow, CRROW, 777radio.com. He's really great. I learned so much from him. I still am a member to him, and I still subscribe monthly and listen all the time. His show is fantastic. They do a great job, and he has tons of good equipment, and he films all this stuff. So I watch a lot of that. However, now what I'm saying is all these luminaries, obviously, they hold some sort of an energy, which means that they are doing something, I believe, to us. They are giving us some sort of energy, some sort of something. Now, what is that? That I don't know yet, but they got to be doing something. If the sun is in energy, which it is, the moon in energy. The moon is a crazy energy. Now, the moon actually draws water. The moon is magnetic. Okay, it's feminine, it's magnetic. However, the moon, because the moon has actual effects on women's menstrual cycles. The reason why people are called lunatics is because of the moon, okay? The moon draws the salt water in your brain, and that's why it affects tides. Your brain, since we're made up of water, primarily water, and we have salt, lots of salt in our bodies, our brains, under, a microscope, is an ocean of salt water and all sorts of stuff. So now when we have the moon out, the moon is drawing that water and splishing it and splashing it around. And now you have tides happening in your brain, which is why people go crazy during full moons, and they're called lunatics, okay? All of these things happening above us, which is where we get the saying, as above, so below, because what's happening above us is happening here on Earth. But not only that, it's happening in our body. And when you can learn that and understand it, you can then start to understand that we get brainwashed, and they use all of this stuff against us. Like, the elite understand that in the wintertime, we're going into winter now, the sun is running away to the southern hemisphere. So it's going away. So we're losing the power of the sun. And the night actually takes over, okay? And now this is the oldest story on Earth, really. Day versus night. This was told in a billion movies. So many movies, all right? For one, Star Wars, day versus night. Luke Skywalker is Lucius. Luke. Lucius. Luz means light in Spanish, light in Latin. Luz is light. Lucifer is light. The sigil for Lucifer is literally your visual cortex, because everything that we see is fragments of light, okay? Fragments of light in vibration. And what we see, what it does is all that light goes in through our eyes and bounces off the back of our visual cortex, and then it sends messages to our brain about what we're seeing. That visual cortex, exactly what that looks like in our brain, actually looks exactly like the sigil for Lucifer. And you could Google that, because what they're telling us, and they do this all the time, they tell us the truth right to our face, is that Lucifer it just means light. And it's actually like we are made up of light, everything. So we're made up of Lucifer, 666 even, because every living thing is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, okay? Every single living thing on this earth. And there are, at the very base of all of that, okay, there are 6 of each. So even a human being, even all living things, we are made up of 666. So it's just funny how the play on 666 and Lucifer and Satan and these words to be turned into all of these things and these stories and characters, and then movies and magazines and newspapers and everything. I mean, we've been sold just so much stuff. They've turned things into stories and sold it right back to us. And until you understand exactly what's going on, as far as that goes, like, you have to understand, for one thing, they know that, like I said, in the wintertime, we begin to hibernate, like all the animals, like all the green stuff around. If you're from the north, you know what I'm talking about. All the leaves go away, everything dies. We begin to hibernate because the sun is gone. They use that against us. They hit us hard with vibration, with energy, with frequencies, with music, with all of the Grammy Awards and Oscars, and all these award shows are during the winter time. All of this stuff is during the winter time. It's mass brainwashing, because they know we are internalizing. We're not out when the sun is strong. When the sun comes back especially during the summer solstice, we're out. We're charged. The sun is electric. It charges you, charges life. The moon is magnetic, and in the winter time we go internalize ourselves, and everything becomes emotional. If you can't control your emotions, if you don't understand how to completely control your emotions, you're going to get run by your emotions, which means that the media is going to completely F with you. Constantly. They're going to F with you. Every emotion you have, they're going to play off them. They're going to be plucking all of those strings. Sexually, they're going to be trying to charge you up or decharge you, whatever their programming is for that specific time, okay? They're going to want to stuff you with alcohol or whatever it is. And you can begin to see it, okay? The Kamala Harris programming happening right now is out of this world. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just start to listen to the amount of times they mention her in all of the new shows. Any new show, just start to recognize when you hear her name. They're always doing it now, always. She is a hero in every show. Whether in it's even if it's they're either talking about her, they mention her name, comparing her to someone ridiculous, like such a hero, or they show her, they have her picture next to like Martin Luther King, or they watch for the programming. Because when you are aware of what's going on, you can then start to watch the programming, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll understand why Kamala Harris is going to win the presidency. It's very, very clear, okay? And I've said, and I apologize, I've said in the past that I thought Trump was going to win because it was predicted, which it was. It was predicted in the Illuminati card game in the 90s. He's said a lot about it, leading up to the 2000s. He said a lot about potentially running for presidency in the past, so there was a lot of predictive programming with that. But what I failed to think about really was that a lot of card games and even The Simpsons, they predicted that he would win the presidency. But I overread the prediction because I thought potentially he was going to win twice. But really, when I relook at the information, I do believe the predictive programming has him winning the election only one time. Losing out to Biden, losing out to Kamala Harris. She is no doubt, hands down, going to win the election. There's just no possibility of her not winning the election, okay? That's what I believe, but that's just my own personal belief based on the predictive programming in the television and just in everything right now. It's so out of control. And then what I also noticed is they're not spending a lot of money on advertising, like television, normal ads per se, but they're getting themselves put into every show. That name, Kamala Harris, in everything, comparing to the most ridiculous people she has no business being compared to. She's never done a damn thing. Pathetic. This country's a joke. Anyone that thinks they're living in a free country in America, it's sad. I really pray for people because, especially like I met a young girl the other day that's leaving to go to the army, and God bless you. Like, if you're a veteran and you fought, I'm not talking shit. Believe me, I am not. I hope that I don't want people to get hurt. That's my thing. I don't like guns. I don't like violence like that. I don't like that. A good old-fashioned boxing match, fine. Wrestling match, fine. Some like a good combat sport, fine. But dude, that's crazy. We're talking about taking another human life. I don't believe that any of us have the right to do that. So it's just lunacy. It's lunacy to me. So the fact that they can take a child's brain, an 18-year-old, and convince them that it's okay to go to another place with a gun and potentially harm another human being, that's despicable to me. It's disgusting, and it's horribly sad. It's sad that people think that they need to do that, because if everyone thought, well, wait a minute, I don't need to do that. Why don't we all just not fight each other? Why don't we all just be peaceful? If everyone stops, then we'll all stop. I can't get behind it. I hate it. I understand the necessity for an army. I do, because there are violent people out there and violent, places. I also think that's a bit of a lie, and I think a lot of what we're told on the media and about violent places, I think they're not that violent, because I know for one thing, I work in some of the worst neighborhoods in Massachusetts, and I've never had a problem. And I know Massachusetts isn't that rough compared to some other places, but I mean the worst neighborhoods possible, and I've never had an issue. I love everybody in the neighborhoods that I'm in, because you know what, I realized, well, I've known this a long time, but if you're there to lend a helping hand, then people will like you. You're there to help. If you're there as a snooty ass brat and you're a jerk, you're not helping, or you're there to stare at people and laugh at people, then yeah, you're probably gonna get jumped, and I don't blame them. But you know what? If you're there to help, people need help. I don't get it. So no, I don't think anywhere is as bad as they say, honestly. I mean, well, some places might be, but I'm just saying. I'm just trying to make a point. I think we get lied to so much about so much. It's just hard to say what's true and what isn't, unless you've been there and done that. So I hope that what I want from people is for people to go and live, go, explore, see people, meet people, do things. Don't flick through your phone, please. Go out and live, do stuff, have fun, have fun, be good, be nice to people, be loving, be caring. That's what I think. Enjoy this earth that we have been gifted. We are gifted to be here, and we stay inside and look at our phones and flick through our TikToks, and it's really sad sometimes, playing virtual video games of a character running around outside. Hello? Makes no sense. But, I don't know. I'm almost at work. I love you all, and this is for entertainment. If you like truth content, any type of content, if you like books, I just wrote a book. I'm writing another one. It's an encyclopedia on symbols. It's going to be thick, and it's every symbol. I own about 6 encyclopedias of symbols, and I don't like any of them because they're like 4 symbols per page and not enough information on each symbol. So I'm rewriting an encyclopedia of symbols, and there's easily over 250 symbols in 1 page of information on every single symbol, not this 1 paragraph nonsense. I'm talking real information, all the mainstream information and all the esoteric information that I've gotten from so many different books. So it's been taking a little while to put together. Every page is color, every page has pictures, every background behind the words is colored, so you can see, like, it's gonna be really beautiful, like a work of art, and I'm super excited about it. So that will be in print and available on my website hopefully soon, in about a month. I'm taking my first book, turning it into an audio book, and anyone that has purchased it or does purchase the original digital book will also get the audio book as soon as that is released. I will go through all the invoices and mail that out. So I love you all, and of course this is entertainment and satire.